We might only be 5 episodes into this new anime Frieren, but I think it's pretty safe to say that we got a masterpiece on our hands. Now, unless you just simply didn't like the episodes up to this point, I think a lot of people can see the quality and the passion that goes into a story that doesn't fit into a box that you normally see in any given anime season. There's so many little elements, whether it was the earlier points, like the idea of, the stone beast that we freed in episode 3 or 4, give or take, where basically what was once indestructible magic, basically innovation, technology, spells, it made it obsolete. Like, just those little moments go a long way. But even the way they can take things that I've seen before, like I've seen characters like Stark, who you think, okay, are a badass, actually scaredy cat, but then they actually turn him back into a badass while still having a natural fear of not wanting to be ate by the giant dragon of death. This show crafts such an emotional journey that's not just simply here to kill characters off so we shed a tear and we say, woe is me, my favorite character got killed. No, it's about showing an elf learn what it's like to almost be human, to embrace the limited times people get with their loved ones. And watching an episode like this, I think I've seen enough. I'm saying, for me anyway, absolutely a masterpiece, and I think it's only going to get better. Now, I do have a full live reaction episode 5 of Frieren available on my Patreon. If you would like to see that, it's over there if you're interested. Now, first things first, Stark. So seemingly our party has been formed, and I didn't really take a look at my anime list in terms of character listings or anything, so I wasn't sure if they were even getting another party member, right? So for me to get introduced to this man, taking a look now at the chart, it does seem like we have a party of 3 that is now formed. And you need a frontline fighter. I mean, as strong as they are, she says, like, she can deal with the dragon if you give her 30 seconds, but Frieren is a spellcaster. She needs a frontline fighter. And since our dwarf is a little past his prime, what's the second best option? Apparently his apprentice. And given the fact that our girl literally took on Fern as her own apprentice, it kind of made sense and kind of felt a little poetic to go this direction. And what I really like is I didn't see this coming. So Stark is a character. We hear that he stopped a dragon. He stood there and he looked like a badass. I think if you look at my thumbnail, like, you don't take a look at that as someone who has a scaredy cat face, right? Like, no, it looks like someone who shook down a dragon. Things cutting apart homes, and it flies away because what the hell is this kid doing? I sense no fear. Turns out, Buddy passed out. He pissed himself, he shit himself, he just passed out and just was like... And then by the time he zoned back in, he had a bag of gold in his hand, all the food he could ever eat, and at that point, you can't leave the damn village. What I like what they did with him, though, is the fact that they don't just immediately show that reaction. The fact that, at first, it kind of felt like he was scolding our girl, because Frieren's pretty much saying, I want to go hunt a dragon because there's a tome that I want, or a grimoire that I want. And pretty much, in a polite way, he called her an idiot, being like, you can't just do something stupid like that. Go hunt a dragon because you want a stupid spell. Now for him, I want to hunt the dragon because I couldn't do it by myself, and if I leave this village to go partying and adventuring with you, then this whole city's gonna get killed. He had a logical mindset, and then they dropped the bombshell. The reason he wasn't strong enough was he couldn't even move. He had stage fright. And the idea that they do such a clever foreshadowing where I didn't really clue into it at first, because you see this giant wall that's basically surrounding like the cavern or whatever, and there's a giant slash. We see giant magical blasts from these characters. I wasn't sure maybe if it was from the dragon or something. I wasn't sure. Turns out, man, night after night, he has strength. He's cutting through that entire wall, and I'm really excited to see what they do, because for Firm, she was disgusted. She wanted nothing to do with it. Let's find a better adventure. But of course, our girl knows because of talking with the dwarf, or most importantly, recognizing that he's been cutting through a wall. Yeah, he might have stage fright, but at the same time, he is incredibly powerful and exactly what they're looking for. And I'm really excited to see, because we have 3 very interesting characters. We have an elf who pretty much looks at 10-year journey as blink and you'll miss it. It's such a small thing. We of course know that this 10-year journey is going to be a lot more memorable because she's going to appreciate kind of like smelling the flowers along the way rather than just saying who the hell cares sort of a deal. We have Fern, who went from this girl who pretty much was lost and afraid, wanting to end her own life, to spending now half of her current life with her mentor, mother, child. It's a mixed bag of emotions. But she also has, I think, the most level head out of the group, and then we have a man who is scared of being brave, but has the strength to be the bravest of them all, and that is a very good party to adventure to back to where they ended the first journey with, but this time to meet the dead. And in this episode, they actually kind of tease what meeting the dead could look like. Though it was fake, it was all an illusion, kind of prying into your memories, giving out what you want to hear. You know, for some people that could be sweet, some people that could be disgusting. For me, if I was to see a loved one, even if it was all because it was something praying into my memories, I would enjoy that personally. That's just how I am, but I understand why that could be seen as just ghoulish in a lot of ways for a lot of people. But it was kind of nice because, well, of course we knew who Fern was going to see. I like the fact that she mentions how it's different for, of course, Frieren, who the first time she met her master when she went through this, and now, of course, it's clearly her love interest, the one that probably hit her deep emotionally the hardest out of the group, and now, of course, she's embracing and seeing the changes in herself. And it was a very, very good episode. I really enjoyed what they do. I think it's clever by not only introducing the dwarf's apprentice, there's going to be a lot more room for flashback when it comes to him, because we'll get to see moments with just Stark and him in terms of training or moments like that. But as we see, even with Fern, like, we still have moments with, you know, of course, the priest, who pretty much was like, you know, just showing her the beauty of life. And, you know, because they kind of did have like a father-daughter dynamic, if not grandfather-granddaughter dynamic. And I like the way they incorporate flashbacks into the middle of this new beautiful journey. In the video I did last week for Frieren, I mentioned how gorgeous the background art was, how like varied the location design is, and it's no different here. Like, if you look at the first episode now to episode 5, whether it's the almost like hand-painted designs for the background, I don't think they're hand-painted, but it almost has that influence to it, which is kind of why I compared it to Somali and the Forest Spirit, which was all hand-painted backgrounds. You have just every time, like, whether it was the ship area, like with the water, like the beach area, to now like a more typical kind of like, oh, it's a fantasy tavern market type location. Everything about it, whether I'm looking at just a river stream, trees in the background, a dragon waiting to just see if someone's stupid enough to find out as we're trying to steal a grimoire that lets us see through clothing. And I'm like, bro, is she just down bad, or does she just think it's cool? She does have a practical idea in her mind about seeing hidden weapons, but it's like, how many times is this going to be an ongoing gag that she just finds spells or items that strips people? Because I kind of love that. But even the simple moments, like seeing the very quick flashback of the original party and having like a stone golem act like a spinning Beyblade as they're all goofing off, this show clicks with me. It clicks with me in a way very similar to something like A 2 Year Eternity, and I can already tell that if the quality remains up, which I'm not saying if the quality of the story remains up, I'm convinced that does, but if the production holds up strong, if they just continue to nail it week after week, I see no reason why this couldn't become a new personal favorite of mine, very similar to how 2 Year Eternity did, especially after season 2, but this time, I think it might only take one season of a show to really get up there for me, but that's just me anyway. Now, of course, those are my feelings. I definitely think we're already at the masterpiece level myself, but let me know what you're feeling about Frieren. Do you agree with that, or do you have a different feeling? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. And like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction to today's episode over on my Patreon if you're interested, and hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have GJ, E, Shadowclaw458, Jamel, Roscoe, and Zerter. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.